It wasn't something any of us saw coming, and it hit us harder than we could have imagined. We had a sudden influx of patients onto the intensive care. Nobody could have imagined this new invading virus could spread as easily as catching a common cold, or could cause so much suffering and hardship. I looked around at my fellow nurses. We all knew we had a challenge on our hands. Then the country locked down. The ICU became overwhelmed, and we were fearful of catching the virus ourselves. I was worried I wasn't properly protected. Was my mask fitting correctly? Was I following procedure correctly? The protective equipment marked my face. I was often dehydrated and had a headache at the end of a shift. I was physically and emotionally exhausted. We were all working in conditions that none of us had ever encountered. It was our skill, experience and courage that got us through. We paused and took stock, reflected on our actions, evaluated our practices, and made sure we did not lose what we'd learnt from this ordeal. Practices like the mixing of medicines at the bedside were identified as critical practices. This practice wasted nursing time, increased risks, and was not safe. Having 2 nurses to check drugs was not efficient. We needed ready-to-use and ready-to-administer medicines. You have to bear in mind we were wearing full personal protective equipment and working in such challenging conditions. Respecting, valuing and listening to nurses on the intensive care meant that we were prepared for any resurgence of the coronavirus pandemic. We had learnt how to optimise our time and expertise. We'd stopped wasting time mixing medicines at the bedside. We knew what worked best for the safe and effective care of our patients. We were and are the heroes of the NHS.